like 2 years ago, the 2022 season, of course, he won the Heisman Trophy. This year was kind of a quote unquote down year. I think a lot of it had to do more with, the offensive line not really being that good, not a lack of options. The defense was god awful. What would you say to people who say, oh, he's not that good? I don't think that he's somebody should be praised as much. I think there's a difference between hype and actual reality. And like, in your opinion, what do you think, like, his ceiling is? I know Mahomes is like an alien and it's like the new LeBron, new Jordan thing. What do you think his ceiling is, on a realistic level for him?
Well, for people that think that, first of all, I think their parents are either brother and sister, or they just need to get their heads examined. I don't understand how the hell, if you watch Caleb Williams for the last 2 years, especially as you mentioned his Heisman year, all of a sudden his stock is going to drop as if he's running track, as if it's a solo sport. Hello, last time I checked, this was a team sport. I didn't agree with the head coach as far as some of the decisions that he made, the coaching staff and their decisions that they made. So that had a lot to do with it as well. Again, I'm not absolving Caleb Williams of any type of responsibility, but let's put it in perspective, man. First of all, get your head out of your behind and realize that this is what you're going to get. You're getting a quarterback. You're getting a solid quarterback. Now, if he could sit down for a while, a period of time, let's say maybe until half the season, you might see that generational talent-esque type of performance that you can get out of Caleb Williams, because he can take time to absolve the attitude and the vibe and the energy and the newness of the NFL, because it is quicker, smarter, faster, better than what he's been able to go up against in college, obviously. So I think a lot of these quarterbacks, you're going to see some growing pains. You're going to see, like we saw with C.J. Stroud, the first couple of games, C.J. Stroud had to get his sea legs up under him. But then he finished incredibly well despite missing 2 games, and he was the best offensive player this past season. And I think you could possibly may get that, whether it be Caleb Williams, Drake May, or whoever, depending on the system that they are in. That is a very important fact, is watching the type of system that they are going to be in, where they can flourish and where you get somebody who understands them and doesn't put an enormous amount of responsibility on their plate, which is why I think one reason why Washington hired Cliff Kingsbury, because if Washington is able to draft him, there's a familiarity there because of what he did at USC and connecting with Caleb Williams that way.
Well, I got this one last football question before we go to bang and we move to basketball. So you bring up system, which I think is a great thing to talk about, because even on the Justin Fields thing, we talked about system and how it wasn't the right system. We talked about the Patrick Mahomes, and the Bears were looking at him but didn't go. And we all know Patrick wouldn't have been the Patrick Mahomes he is now with the system that the Bears had. What is like from an outsider's perspective? I think sometimes we get too caught up in the local view of how the Bears are viewed. What's the local perception of the Bears? And like, if Caleb Williams went there, do you think that's a good situation for him, or should he try to not go to Chicago?
I mean, I think it's a Sunday service moment. Stretch your hands forth, reach out, and pray for this young man, because good Lord, if he's going to the Bears and what they've done to Justin Fields, to me, has been an absolute tragedy. They've never given that man any type of damn help. Let's be honest. I know you guys have seen it firsthand, but from here in Los Angeles, I mean, just watching Justin Fields and then seeing him kind of get comfortable and start to flourish in the last several games of the season, you can see that there's potential there if he's in the right system with the right coaching. And I hope to God, if they do trade Justin Fields, he goes to a place like the Atlanta Falcons that do have some type of talent there that he can flourish. And sometimes quarterbacks do need a new change of scenery. I mean, I don't give a damn if they kept his coach. Matter of fact, if they don't make the playoffs next year, his coach is fired, because anytime they get rid of the offensive coordinators, the defensive coordinators, and all these other guys, your ass, your key card will not be working the following season. You understand that. Them checks ain't gonna be coming. You will be on Cobra as far as health insurance is concerned. So I hope Justin Fields gets a fresh start, because he's got an enormous amount of criticism. And I just say that some of that isn't warranted, because he's done some things that make you scratch your head and question, what the hell were you thinking on that particular play or plays? But also too, I don't think they're giving him a full shot. And I think they put so much responsibility on his shoulders. He had to be the savior of the franchise, and you can't put that type of responsibility on a young man of his caliber. You got to be able to give him some weapons to do with, like we saw with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson 2019 was the MVP. He has done more with less, and now this year Lamar finally got some help and finally got the weapons, some of the weapons that he needed to be able to flourish, which is why he has elevated to a 2-time MVP level. And I think they still have to continue to build on that. But if you're the Chicago Bears, I mean, they look cheap as hell. I mean, I don't know if who owns it. I felt like Donald Sterling or Dean Spanos owns them. I mean, shit. What else can you do with that franchise? I mean, my God, it needs an overhaul.
But damn,
Yeah.
damn.
Go ahead, man.
I was like, damn, I don't, man, you just made me feel bad for being a Bears fan. By comparing
You should feel bad that you on that narcotic and barely been on that narcotic for quite some time now. It's time for rehab, my brother. I'm sorry. I'm gonna pray for you.
Damn,
I've been telling y'all to seek help for so long now.
You compared the Bears to Donald Sterling. Shit.
Well, from the cheap standpoint, I'm not calling anybody.
No. Where, even though if you talk to a black Bears fan, they'll probably be like, "Oh yeah, hell yeah, motherfucker, shit." But yeah, damn. But let's go back to LA. And talk about these Clippers and these Lakers. The Clippers looking strong going into the last 20-some games of the season. Then you got the Lakers, who are currently still around play-in status. But you look at the top end of the West, you have inexperienced teams when it comes to the top of being at the top of the playoffs and possibly going up against an experienced team like the Lakers if it gets to that point. So what is the prospects you believe of both the Clippers and the Lakers going into this playoff hunt?
I think the Clippers have been surprisingly have fared out fairly well, especially after the James Harden trade when they went 0 for 6 after that trade until they were able to figure it out and move the pieces around they needed, moving Russell to the bench. I think that was an improvement. And I think Ty Lue has always, to me, has struck me as a very incredibly sound and intelligent coach. If you give him the pieces to work with, he can definitely put that puzzle together and make it look right. I think also, too, these guys are playing together. I think they all know that the writing is on the wall, that you have to at least get to the NBA Finals. You definitely have to get to the Western Conference Finals, but you damn sure have to get to the NBA Finals. Even if you lose and come up short in 6 or 7 games, at least you got the franchise there, which is something that has never happened in their entire history. I think Paul George is playing at an enormous level. You look at Kawhi Leonard, who's also been playing well. You look at James Harden. You look at a lot of the other guys, Zubac. You look at a lot of the other guys that have been, it's just like a fluidity. And I'm very impressed by the Los Angeles Clippers as far as what they've been able to put together. And I think this team, if they can stay healthy, I think this team definitely can go deep into the playoffs. I think they have a boulder in the manner of the Denver Nuggets because I think Jokic and Kyler Murray and those boys, I think they're just too much. And I picked them to be back-to-back champions, but I think the Clippers can take them to 6 or 7 games in the Western Conference Finals if they also stay healthy, meaning the Denver Nuggets. As far as the Los Angeles Lakers are concerned, I mean, this is a team that's Six Flags. It's up 1 minute, down the next, don't know what the hell's going on. Then you do know what the hell is going on. I mean, there was controversy about, fans talking about firing Darvin Ham when they went to that skid. Then they made the moves, they made the trade, got Dinwiddie, and then they went on and started playing like a team. Unfortunately, the Golden State Warriors said, "You're in San Francisco now." The Golden State started feeling themselves, and they look like the old Golden State Warriors that we've been accustomed to seeing years prior. So I think there's a team like the Lakers, and like I told people, the Lakers are not going to win any championships. Not this year, not next year, or the year after that. I think LeBron is done winning chips. I think LeBron is about individual accolades, and he's playing at an extremely high level. I have a tremendous amount of respect for LeBron James and how he's been playing at year 20 and 21. But at the same time, I think there's a lot better teams out there. You look at the OKC Thunder with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's in the MVP conversation. I think you talk about inexperienced teams. I think, like I said, you got the Los Angeles Clippers. You got the Denver Nuggets. And there's probably some other sleeper teams out there. Phoenix Suns seem like they're trying to pull it together and figure it out. And when you're in a 7-game series, it's a totally different ballgame than when you in the regular season. So I think there's going to be some exciting basketball in the Western Conference. I don't expect the Los Angeles Lakers to go deep like they did last year. They got lucky as hell. I know a lot of Laker fans got pissed off at me. I don't give a damn. When I do, you be the first to know. But it is what it is until they saw that juggernaut known as the Denver Nuggets, and they played a real team who had a real bench as well as a real starting 5. And you're going to get more teams like that this year when you talk about the Los Angeles Clippers, when you look at the Denver Nuggets, even the OKC Thunder, and possibly the Phoenix Suns, if, like I said, if they can figure it all out. So it's not going to be an easy road at all.
Scott, real quick, I feel like this might be a dumb question, and I don't subscribe to any question is not a dumb question.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna ask this dumb question: do the Lakers have a chance versus the Minnesota Timberwolves or the OKC Thunder if it shakes out to play them in the first round of the playoffs?
They absolutely have a chance. I mean, you got LeBron James, Anthony Davis. You always, and as long as those two stay healthy, you definitely have a chance. I mean, I got a chance just like to pick the winning lottery numbers. I mean, as long as I go to 7-Eleven and play, I got a chance too. But I mean, in all actuality, yeah, they got a chance, definitely. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves learned something last year as well from that play-in game. I think when you got a guy like Ant-Man who's absolutely a flat-out stud, the man is 0 to 100 real quick. He is the catalyst for that team. And I think you got a guy that is growing into his leadership abilities in Ant-Man. I think that the sky could be the limit for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I do think they're a player or so away from actually making a deep playoff run. But I also think there's a lot of potential there. But, sometimes, like they say, potential is like volunteer work. It don't pay no bills. So we got to see when the rubber meets the road what's going to really happen in that series, whether it's a play-in opportunity or whether it's a first-round matchup.
That paper on this player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not going to hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not going to